Hello and welcome to the Literary Lair. Today is Towel Day. Towel Day is a yearly celebration of the works of Douglas Adams. Today we are supposed to carry a towel around. And I am. As we are told to do in Chapter 3 of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The holiday was started by fans of the series 2 weeks after Douglas Adams' passing in 2001. The last work of Douglas Adams is often thought to be the screenplay for the 2005 Hitchhiker's Guide film, which he co-wrote, but never got to see, which is probably for the best. But that is not his final work. His final work is this, The Salmon of Doubt. It's a posthumous collection of previously published and unpublished material by Douglas Adams. It's pretty much a bunch of essays about technology and life experiences, but it also has something amazing in it. The sadly incomplete novel that Adams was working on right before his death, The Salmon of Doubt. It was intended to be the third Dirk Gently novel, but Adams had expressed intent on turning it into a new Hitchhiker's Guide book, since a lot of the concepts would work better there. This episode will be a bit different, since I'm just going to read some of the quotes, talk about some of the essays, and give a summary of the unfinished novel, along with my thoughts on it. Also, it should be noted that Adams is my favorite sci-fi author, as evidenced by the fact that the theme song for the Hitchhiker's Guide series is the song I chose for the theme song for this show. Anyway, let's get to the book. The cover is surprisingly good. Just a generic space background with a salmon floating in it. And you know what? That's kind of fitting. I wouldn't have wanted to see the goddamn cosmic cutie on this thing anyway. Let's get to some of the highlights. So, this book is chock full of essays and letters. One in particular stuck out to me. It's an essay that he wrote for the London Sunday Times in 1992 for Paul McCartney's 50th birthday. He tells of his experience with the Beatles' music. When he was in school, when Can't Buy Me Love came out, he snuck out of school to buy the record and then snuck into the headmaster's office to borrow her record player to listen to it. He got to the B-side of it, which was You Can't Do That, before he was caught. And he was 12 at the time. He goes on to explain that the Beatles impacted his life in a huge way, and I can relate. I love the Beatles. He also says that one time he had been invited by a friend who was in Paul McCartney's band to see them play at a pub, and was astonished that Paul McCartney played in pubs. And he finishes it off by wishing Paul McCartney a happy 50th birthday. Another part that piqued my interest was this one quote, presumably from an interview, that is on the sidebar of douglasadams.com in the collected work section. How should prospective writers go about becoming an author? First of all, realize that it's very hard, and that writing is a grueling and lonely business, unless you are extremely lucky. Badly paid as well. You had better really want to do it. Next, you have to write something. Unless you are committed exclusively to novel writing, I suggest that you start out writing for radio. It's still a relatively easy medium to get into because it pays so badly. But it is a great medium for writers because it relies so much on the imagination. You will learn a tremendous amount from it and maybe get some useful exposure. What qualities are needed by an author? A determination to keep at it. Honestly, that's the best advice I've ever seen, and I regret not having seen it sooner. Now, of course, it's a bit outdated since radio isn't a prime medium anymore. But the advice still stands. And hey, if you can't get into radio, go into the review business. They give these shows out to literally anybody. How do you think I got this show? Hi, I'd like a review show. He also writes a funny little paragraph about time travel. It is as follows. Time travel? I believe that there are people regularly traveling back from the future and interfering with our lives on a daily basis. The evidence is all around us. I'm talking about how every time we make an insurance claim, we discover that somehow, mysteriously, the exact thing we're claiming for is now precisely excluded from our policy. And now, the meat of the video. My summary and analysis of the Salmon of Doubt. There's only 11 chapters, so there's not much to go on. But basically, Dirk is bored with his life and keeps correspondence with Kate Schechter from the second book, as she complains about Thor destroying stuff. Dirk says that a woman came in asking him to look for a cat, or rather, half a cat. Just the back half. The front is still there, but he doesn't want to because it's boring. Then he, through a series of events that started with the Zen navigation, ends up in America and investigating the suspicious death of a rhinoceros. And he gets there, and that's all that's there. For an unfinished novel, it's not bad. It's certainly more interesting than the first Dirk Gently book, and I liked it. I only wish it was finished. And that, sadly, was The Salmon of Doubt. A wonderful collection coming from my favorite sci-fi author from beyond the grave. Anyway, happy Towel Day, and I just want to say thank you, Douglas Adams, for all your wonderful novels and radio plays. See you next time. The sun. For the sun. Hi, I'd like a review show. Okay.
I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
When I say review show, just like quickly pop it on my desk.
I'll try my best.
Hi, I'd like a review show. Okay, one more. I want to do a couple takes. So I want to make sure. Okay, gotcha. I'd like a review show. One more review show. Well, I am sorry.
You're not reacting, you're just going.
Yeah. Okay, would you like
Go back. Be like, oh.
Okay. Okay. Like that? Okay. Okay, let's do a couple more.
You know, no matter how that show is. You would look at the box and then swap it.
Hi, I'd like a review show. Hi, I'd like a review show.